Hello and welcome to your first Drupal installation. So let's begin with DDEV. Now, the nice thing about DDEV is that it is a wrapper built around Docker. So for that, you will basically need to install Docker first. There's plenty of documentation if you have Mac OS or Windows. We're currently going to use a Linux machine, which is Ubuntu, CentOS. Click on this and you'll be able to have, in this case, it will redirect you to install Docker. And that's fine because that's exactly what we'll need. And the second thing would be install the same thing, Ubuntu Linux, and you basically get the DD and RPM package, and then you'll be ready to go. If you see this, then you're basically good to go when all of the combinations done. So let's begin by having a quick start. Let's copy this quick start for Drupal and see how easy it is to actually have your own Drupal site. By the way, we're going to focus on Drupal, but you also, if you notice here, you'll be able to have DDEV also supports Django, Craft, Laravel. They also have Moodles, WordPress, and other type of things. Moodle being the surprise because that's something that you usually use for education, and Magento for e-commerce. So there's plenty of ways you can use this thing. Also, another thing too, which is pretty nice, it actually includes Node in the installation. And I think that's something that's very cool because sometimes it doesn't have Mean or Next.js installation included within the Docker version, but it does have a Node installation in there in case you have or you want to have a quick Node script in there. So let's begin by setting up a DDEV site in here. The first thing you'll see is that you have configuration complete, but hear me out. If you have this configuration here, and this is something that I saw with some of the DDEV options there, probably you don't see this, but you'll see that with this DDEV version 1.22.6, I saw it before, is that you're not able to install. All you need to do is just add this flag, -- create a doc run, and then you'll be able to have a DDEV set up correctly there. Okay, so now we have DDEV set up. Let's see what is installed, and the first thing you'll notice is that you have this hidden DDEV folder there with the web option there. And if we click on that, you'll see the DDEV configuration file, which is exactly what we're going to work with. Right now we're going to use PHP 8.1, but you can always like turn it DDEV option off and actually change it, which is the same concept that you have with any Docker instance. And that's exactly one of the things that it's nice about DDEV. It's like it creates a wrapper with many possibilities to add into here. As mentioned, it also comes with a Node.js version as well. By default, I believe it has, let's see, we can always do DDEV npm. Well, actually, let's go in here. Yeah, we have to start it first, so let's go with DDEV start. DDEV npm will actually automatically start or any type of CLI tools that you have with DDEV, which is pretty nice. If you notice here, it actually creates a container. It will set up all the options, and let's wait for a while until this thing gets started. All right, looks like DDEV is started now, and it looks like it has that option for creation. But if you notice here, we have DDEV launch, which is basically the command to run. We still haven't had our own Drupal site, so what are we missing? Let's go into here and see, it looks like we have a couple composers scripts missing here. So let's begin with a Drupal one to have that set up started there. And this will basically set up your own Drupal site. As you notice, it's kind of fast. And second thing too would be installing Drush because it's a CLI command tool for Drupal, which is something that is going to be very essential once we start developing something for Drupal itself. So let's wait for this. Usually it doesn't take long, but one thing is like it basically will stop and recreate some of the containers there, which is exactly what we want to have when it comes to having some of the new perspectives. So now it's ready, and let's begin installing Drush again because we want to have a CLI tool that is able to connect with us. Now, one thing about DDEV that it's pretty nice is that it creates all of the configurations there. Well, actually, this would be like status, I believe. Let me check. I'm sorry, it's like DDEV. What? One good thing about DDEV is that it creates also a side what shows you how your container has been created. If you click on DDEV status, you'll be able to see the project, then the platform, and after that, what services are provided there. Right now we have only web for the database, actually the web for this application, DDEV. Then after that, it's like the DB, and it looks some sort of a basically mail pit, and after that it creates all the URLs that are required for that. So kind of like a virtual machine. So if you go here again, DDEV launch, you'll be able to see a Drupal site ready to install. Now this would be enough in order to get started, but we can go a little bit step further. Now you can see on the DDEV start, we'll see that we have a site installed, and this is important of Drush. Drush is able to install a Drupal site for us. So let's create one, so we don't have to go through the whole process of installing it manually. And then after that, we'll just go with the .uli. Now this ULI is basically a user login. It will give you the user for admin, which we created. We can technically just go and launch and see that option. If you go in here, DDEV launch. Actually, oh yeah, we have that Drush. DDEV launch, and we're able to go in here. Now DDEV launch is something that you'll be able to see a lot because it creates, it basically launches the DDEV instance into the path that you want. So you can have DDEV launch user, and it will take you basically to the user, which will redirect you to user login. And we can technically use this credentials, but you don't have to remember them. You can just use DDEV Drush ULI, copy this link, and then you'll basically have a fully functional Drupal site with just a few steps and without creating a lamp. It uses the power of Docker, and you'll be able to have that set up. Now, one more thing too that I really want to talk about this installation is that DDEV actually has some features included from sites. So if you go in here in PHP settings, you'll see, actually it's php.ddev settings, you'll see that some of the options are actually created here, like credentials, like what port, what host, what driver. Some of the major credentials has been set up in here, some of the trusted hosts, and also like some of the mailer and how this mailer is basically set up. So these are the general config tools that you'll be able to use, and you'll also be able to copy and change whatever you want. Same thing with this, like with all Drupal previous Drupal sites, you can also set up some of the debugs options, the tree configuration for debugging. We'll actually be able to make sure that this one is actually set up to true to start doing some debugging for some of the templates. And yeah, that's basically DDEV. And of course, if you don't really want to use your site like this DDEV instance anymore, you can always delete it, leave, and yes, you'll be able to destroy everything from here. You can also create some simple snapshots as well. If you can see here, that's something that you don't really have to use. And basically with its command, you'll be able to destroy everything related to the command, to the test. Now DDEV comes, like launch and delete, comes with many commands. It's something that you can take a look at some of the options here. Like for example, you have data config, start, launch, even list, and describe some of the info there. We have the option for just like describe is just another way of having a status. Right now there's no DDEV instance, so there's really nothing to see here. We know how to set it up again. So that's one thing too about DDEV. It's really powerful tool to have at your disposal. It's technically like a Swiss knife for all Docker instances. As mentioned here, DDEV has included with Node, which is something pretty nice to have in case you're using Node as well. And this is the tool that we're going to use in order to do some of the tutorials for Drupal. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about DDEV, there's still some extra stuff that we need to know. For example, like Composer, how to create a snapshot for some of your DVs in case you're doing some changes, import into some of the database. Let me know if you're interested in to know a little bit more about that, and we can dive deeper into the tools. But for now, we're just going deep inside Drupal site building, and then after that Drupal front-end development, and after that finally doing some module development with that. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope you have a great day. Take care.